Tutta folgorante la vetrina, piena di balocchi e profumi, entra con la mamma la bambina, tra lo sfolgorio di quei lumi, comanda, signora, cipria e cologna così. Mamma, mormora la bambina, mentre pieni di pianto agli occhi per la tua piccolina, non compri mai i balocchi. Mamma, tu compri soltanto i profumi per te. Ella col salotto profumato, pipo di fruscini di seta, porge il labbro tumido al peccato, mentre la bambina indiscreta gli schiude quel nido pieno d'odor di cotì. Mamma, mormora la bambina, mentre pieni di pianto agli occhi per la tua piccolina, non compri mai i balocchi. Mamma, tu compri soltanto profumi per te. E si punza la bambina, or la mamma non è più ingrata, or regala tutta la vetrina per la sua figliuola malata. Amore mio bello, ecco i balocchi per te. Grazie, mormora la bambina, vuole toccare quei balocchi, ma il capo già reclina e già socchiude gli occhi, piange la mamma pentita, stringendola al
One, my student said, simply movement, whether it's of the face, hands, or body, follows the rhythm and breath of the music. What I try to do is to let my movements flow freely with the breath, the rhythm, and the linguistic message I want to express. My response, analyzing the relationship between breath and singing, is exactly what I asked you to start doing yesterday. You must use your own words to explain the function of each movement Vila makes in relation to his breathing technique. For example, movement 1. Perhaps it's meant to inhale a large amount of air during a brief pause to ensure there's enough breath for the next phrase. You need to explain each phrase like this. Even if the breathing movement is subtle, very light, you still need to explain why it's done that way. What I mean is, you're not just generally studying his breathing, but focusing on the details. What does each specific breathing gesture mean in Vila's technique? His breathing gestures are not all the same. 3. My student said, here I tried to imitate Claudio Vila's style in Balocchi e Profumi. I reduced the volume to the minimum and sang using the chest and abdominal cavities. The control at the end of each phrase was also well handled. To breathe, I attempted a sigh-like inhalation to avoid making any sound. This approach better engages the abdominal area and tightens the abs. 4. My response. This is the best you've sung so far, but I still need to point out your shortcomings. Why was the very first note so forceful, and why did your voice sound more natural afterward? Why is that? I don't want to raise a student who just follows orders blindly. I need you to develop your own analytical abilities and the skill to correct mistakes. So here's your task. That first explosive note, what was the mistake? Why was it a mistake? What might be the reason behind it? Even so, the majority of this performance was quite good. Another thing you need to improve is the uniformity of your vocal dynamics. Don't have sudden bursts of loudness followed by abrupt weakness. Do you know why sometimes your voice is loud and sometimes it's soft? That's the second task I'm assigning you. These 2 questions, you need to answer them next time. Don't worry about making mistakes. I'll tell you the right explanation. I'm not giving you the answers now. You need to think for yourself. 5. My student said, it's just like you once mentioned, the kind of brief pause breathing technique used by Picalunga and Pertile. Even Delmonico and Jorling found it difficult to master. It's like using your whole body to create a kind of glottal shock. My response. That technique, I'll explain it to you in person. I won't reveal it here. Otherwise, there would be 100, 1,000 Carusos in the world. But let me tell you this, listen to the great tenors in history. If they don't have that precise physical gesture during breath management, they're not truly world-class tenors. 7. My student said, what I dislike most orally is the part right after I inhale in this way. The very first note sounds like it bursts out like a bullet. Maybe I need not only to stop immediately after inhaling, but also to pause briefly before phonation to allow the breath to flow out more smoothly. Utter 8. My response. That's exactly the point. When you inhale and immediately sing, the sound bursts like a bullet. This happens because the singer hasn't mastered breath control. But it's not always about forcing air out. The key concept is, even if you have 100% of your breath capacity, you only need to use 25% to sing. Then the sound won't burst out. Got it? Before your first note, you had enough time to breathe and space to control the sound, but your first sound still burst out forcefully. Why? Because you used facial tension, mask tension, and that's incorrect. You need to place your voice gently in front of your chest. Then the sound won't be explosive. 9. My student said, maybe I need not only to stop right after inhaling, but also to add a moment of stillness before phonation so that the breath can begin flowing more gently. 10. My response, you're absolutely right, it should be done that way. And you can study Claudio Villa. He uses different bodily gestures to achieve this exact effect. Now, here's your final assignment for today. What gesture does Villa use to achieve that immediate stop after inhalation? Let me repeat the 3 key questions I asked you. 1. Why was your first note so powerful? 2. Why is your volume sometimes loud and sometimes suddenly soft? 3. What physical gesture does Villa use to stop right after inhaling? These 3 questions are very important. You need to think them through. I actually have many more suggestions for your singing, but for today, let's focus on these 3.